For the second year in a row, a top star in WWE exits the road to WrestleMania before it really even begins. Bron Breakker was well on his way to having a marquee matchup at WrestleMania 42 in Vegas, and now he's on the shelf after having surgery for an apparent hernia this past week. Don't get me wrong, 2026 is not just the year of Bron Breakker. So this doesn't completely derail what I thought and what I hoped for WWE in 2026, because I think 2026, when all is said and done, is the year of building superstars. We've already started to see that in the first 6 weeks of this year. Obafemi has been made to look like a god, and he certainly does over his 4, maybe 5 appearances this calendar year. Javon Evans is now routinely one of the most exciting parts of Monday Night Raw week in and week out. Trick Williams has immediately joined the main event picture, the title picture for the undisputed WWE Championship, and he certainly doesn't look out of place on Friday Night SmackDown. In fact, he looks like he's right where he belongs, up there next to Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, etc. But Bron Breakker was already there. Bron Breakker, ever since the injury to Seth Rollins, has been catapulted into that upper echelon of superstar in WWE. From the moment he took out Seth Rollins and became the de facto leader of the top faction in WWE, which currently is The Vision, he's had a rocket ship strapped to his back. Because after that, you go to War Games. Bron Breakker starts the War Games match, goes coast to coast in that one, and gets the pin. Think about the names on the marquee for War Games in San Diego. You had the World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk. You had the undisputed WWE Champion, Cody Rhodes. You had the OTC, and in many people's eyes, the face of WWE in Roman Reigns. And you had the Beast, Brock Lesnar. And who gets the pin? Albeit with help from what we eventually found out was Austin Theory, but who walks away and who stands tall with the pinfall? Bron Breakker. And because of that, it leads to a title feud with CM Punk, where they had over a month to build a World Heavyweight Championship match. And that build, that feud, in my opinion, is the best world title feud we have seen since Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. It's not to that level. That feud is on a different level. But since then, nothing has come close to it. And I'm not going to say until that feud between Punk and Breakker, but that one stands tall above all the rest since that day happened back at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. I mean, Breakker goes toe-to-toe on the mic with CM Punk on multiple occasions. Shows that he is ready for the spotlight against a guy like Punk when it comes to building a match. I would say that was as close to a perfect build for a title match as you could get. And I mean, the thing that happened the most in that time is it felt like Bron Breakker understood what he was. It felt like Bron Breakker, and we've heard this from The Undertaker, that you'll really be cooking when you can be yourself in there. And that's what it feels like Bron Breakker was starting to get to before this injury happened. And that world title feud was a picture-perfect example that he can do the things that all the greats are doing right now. You think about that promo between CM Punk and Roman Reigns a couple weeks back on Monday Night Raw. People loved it, and they should have loved it. It was a great promo. But what were the best parts of it? The little details. Obviously, Roman Reigns bringing up the Colt Cabana podcast that CM Punk went on, huge. But the other big part is Roman Reigns saying after War Games, I helped you up, looked at you like a man, and shook your hand. And what did you do? You treated me like a young boy. You mocked me on the way back up. That wasn't on television. That wasn't part of the post show on YouTube. That was something that happened that Roman Reigns brought into the world of relevance, that he brought into the story, something that happened off screen that he was able to bring on screen. Now, there is plenty of cameras that were there to catch that. So now we have footage of it, but it's not something that anybody thought of in the moment, but now is a huge part of the story going forward. Bron Breakker did the same thing in his promo with CM Punk. He talked about at WrestleMania 41, the conversation backstage that Punk had with Breakker about, you're good, but we'll see if you can cut a promo with the big boys, kid. And he said, well, la-dee-da in that promo. That was him showing that he can stand toe-to-toe with anybody on the mic, even one of the greatest of all time at doing so in CM Punk. That feud ends as he loses on the inaugural Monday Night Raw of 2026, and all of a sudden he starts a feud with Adam Pearce. He's unhinged. He's unglued. He is so mad that he lost that match to CM Punk, and it starts this weird, disruptor of authority storyline with Adam Pearce. There's the physical altercation where, Bron Breakker puts Adam Pearce down to the second turnbuckle, and then Paul Heyman pulls some, Jedi mind trick lawyerisms and says, actually, Adam Pearce, you put your hands on him first, which gets, the ball rolling to the entire Vision getting into the Royal Rumble, and everybody saying, okay, Bron Breakker is the guy, and people outside believed it. People on the outside looking in said Bron Breakker is a favorite to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania this year. That's the level of work that he's been doing since he took out Seth Rollins until the point of being announced as number 2 in the Royal Rumble. That is the body of work that he put together, that a majority of WWE's fan base saw him as a legitimate contender to win the Royal Rumble, a legitimate possibility to win the Royal Rumble. Now, of course, the Masked Man story gets another chapter, takes him out. He gets knocked out of the ring by Obafemi. The following day, he opens Monday Night Raw, which again, I thought was such a good segment. It was such a good evolution to this story, to where all of a sudden he said, I was just going to go in there and earn myself another title shot. And then that got taken away from me. What's going on, Paul? What is happening? He lost his mind. No entrance. No, give me a microphone. He just went out there and lost his mind, flipped over the announce desk, and again, was everything you'd expect him to be given the circumstance of his character. So all of this has happened over the last 6 months. All of this to build up Bron Breakker. And the payoff just has to wait. Now he is injured. Now he's out indefinitely after that hernia surgery. It's the same thing as last year. I started off the show saying for the second year in a row, one of the biggest stars in the company is in danger of missing WrestleMania and not capitalizing on the heat that they were able to create leading into the pre-road to WrestleMania. They were just getting the car started. And then we get on the road and have to immediately take a detour. Because last year it was Kevin Owens. This year it's Bron Breakker. They get injured. They're on the shelf. I mean, it's nothing they can do about it. It's just an unfortunate reality that we live in that has now happened for a second straight time. Last year, that Kevin Owens that we saw last year, the feud that he had with Cody Rhodes to set him up for an eventual blow-off match between him and Randy Orton, that would have been a great match and a great conclusion to that story at WrestleMania 41. We were robbed of it. We were robbed of it, and Kevin Owens was robbed of it too, because he was doing some of the best work of his career, and he was robbed of it with an injury. Now, hopefully, health is more important than everything, hopefully we get to see him come back and either pick up where he left off or continue to do some great work. But at the same time, the hope has to be similar for Bron Breakker. A less severe injury than the neck injury that Kevin Owens has been dealing with, but still not a good time anytime you're having major surgery. So we hope for the best for Bron Breakker. It is just it stinks, man. It stinks because that would have been one of the best non-title fights or feuds, and we didn't even know who it was going to be. There was speculation it was Seth Rollins. There was speculation it was going to be Brock Lesnar. We didn't even know who the opponent was. And it still feels like a massive loss for the WrestleMania 42 card. So best wishes go out to Bron Breakker, hoping for a speedy and complete recovery, and excited to see what happens when he's back on our television screens. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this one. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more WWE content. But that's it for this one. We'll see you guys next time.